This is our main page. So if you look down, we have three types of resources. We have the tech-infused lesson plans that we mentioned earlier. We have microlearning units, which are e-learning modules for teachers to get familiar with emerging technology. And we have lesson resources, which are still a work in progress. So let's take a look at some of our tech-infused lesson plans. You can browse through this window, but what I think is really cool is you can also filter based on subject, based on grade, based on tech domain, and based on standards, right? So like I mentioned just now, we align with Common Core, ISTE, as well as next generation science standards. These four domains are the technological skill sets that we think will be necessary for students to thrive in AI, simulation, extended reality, as well as programming and coding. This lesson pops up. So this is actually one of my favorite lessons. And in this lesson, what the students are doing is essentially creating a simple machine learning model that can differentiate between different types of fractions, between a half and a third and a quarter. So each of our lessons includes an opening activity, a main activity, and a closing activity. And the entire lesson is 120 minutes long. And we have all resources here ready for you to download and remix.
Yep.
So loading one of our resources, which are downloadable for all teachers. This is the deck of slides you'll be using with your students. Right? I mentioned about the tooltips just now, right? I introduced one example, which is the real world applications one, the light bulb. We also include another type of tooltip, differentiation activities or differentiation for learners of different profiles. So in this case, we have differentiation for learners who require more support as well as more advanced learners, right? Yeah, maybe one thing we can do is, could you share with our audience the lessons that you tried out on Eddy and maybe just share your experiences conducting it?
I did the fraction genius lesson with my fourth graders. We just are wrapping up our fraction unit. So they had a lot of background on equivalent fractions and identifying fractions. So I thought it would be fun for them to use this AI to show what they know about fractions. And as soon as I said AI, they were like, so excited. It was super helpful, like having the lesson plan. Like I printed it out for myself. I kind of like chunked it as like, okay, this is our warm up. This is what my students already know. This is kind of review. So what they ended up doing is I printed off like little fraction pieces for them, like circles, and they colored in the fractions that they wanted to teach the AI. And they like were taking pictures of them, and then they finally got to test it, and it tells you like 100% like this is a 3/4 fraction. So they were excited, like, oh, we did a good job, we like taught the machine. And even like at the end of the day they were like, can we do this again?
And the sound symphony. After that, we did the towering arithmetic, which that one was I went over it during my spring break and I followed the instructions step by step, and I created it myself in order to go back after spring break to teach to my children. So that was helpful as the last lesson we did was the fraction one, the fraction genius, and we broke that up into several different parts. The kids enjoyed that, and they took it, some of the children took it even further, where they even did the scratch portion of it, and they created their own games with it.